Hey everybody, this is Kim. It's been a little while since I've recorded anything, and I was driving home from work today and was thinking about all of the people that have been in touch with me, talking about their anxiety of testing and their fears and everything else that they have going on. And I realized that when I finished up the first season of the Court Reporters Cafe, that I didn't pay attention, I think, to the students like I should have. So being that as it may, I feel like this needs to be addressed, and I'm hoping that this will help some students out that are preparing to test. So here's what I want to start off saying. I remember being nervous. It wasn't that long ago that I took my CVR, and even less time when I took my RVR. But it was 10 years ago, took my CVR, and I remember I was walking around a grocery store when I got the email and looked at my phone, which was a huge mistake. And I saw that I had passed my jury charge, I had passed my literary, but I did not pass my written, and I did not pass my 225 Q&A. So of course, I start bawling like a baby, was, probably holding a bunch of bananas or something, and people thought I was crazy, but nevertheless, it was heartbreaking to me. And then I had to kind of pull myself together and think, okay, well, it could be worse. I could have failed everything, or could have failed 2 out of the 4 or 3 out of the 4 or whatever the case may be, but I didn't. So I had to kind of look at the brighter side of things and realize that, okay, now I can focus on my 225, I can focus on studying for the written again, and we'll get this thing taken care of. So I think it was maybe 2 months later, I drove to Atlanta, which is about 5 hours away from me, and spent some time with Tori Pittman, who was there getting ready to test for her RVR. And then I just kind of put everything away and got up earlier the next morning and did some vocal warm-ups and things like that, and stretched and took care of myself, ate a good breakfast, so on and so forth. Did my 225 and ended up passing it, and then I did the written test remotely at a testing center in Charlotte, I think it was, and passed it then. So my point being that you need to turn this around. If you took your test at convention in California, or if you just took your test in Charlotte and, things didn't work out the way that you thought that it would, or you've taken this part of the test umpteen times, just think how much better it is knowing you just have one leg or 2 legs to pass versus, all 4. So anyway, I did want to talk too about technology. So for me, I have always had this fear that technology would totally screw things up for me. And I've seen it happen. It happens all the time. I mean, I'm on the record 4 or 5 days a week, and I will sometimes just be going to town, and my real time is beautiful and things are great, and then all of a sudden my computer decides to throw up, and it always concerned me about that. But I will tell you this, when I took my test in Charlotte, my CVR in Charlotte 10 years ago, I did not test with my software. So the one thing you really need to remember more than anything, more than where that comma is supposed to go or that semicolon or whatever, is remember that you need to get those words down no matter what. So when I took my test, when I took my CVR, I just plugged in my mask to my digital recorder and I dictated into that. And then when I was done, I uploaded that file on my computer and plugged in my foot pedal and went to town transcribing my voice. And you know what? Even then, I didn't even dictate punctuation because I just wanted to get the words, and then I can figure out the punctuation when I'm transcribing. So that took a little bit of pressure off of me and made me feel so much better knowing that I had nobody to blame or nothing to blame but myself when it came to passing these tests. So, and I think the biggest problem with me with the testimony, the Q&A, was that speed, and getting hung up on, oh my God, I got to put a comma in here and all that stuff, when it doesn't matter until you actually are transcribing it to on how that final transcript looks. So that might be something that some of you would-be testers out there might want to start doing. And if nothing else, make it part of your practice routine. Don't practice with your software. Practice by plugging in that mask to a digital recorder, then uploading that recording into Express Scribe or whatever it is that you use, and then transcribing it, and then grading yourself on how you did. I think that'll take a little bit of pressure off of you as well. I think there is enough pressure in this business that the thing that we need to really focus on is getting the words down. I know personally that when I provide real time at this point in my career to my judge or to my attorneys, or if I supply a rough, not a single person has ever said to me, oh my God, Kim, you had all the words down, but you missed a comma. No one's ever done that to me. So I'm not belittling that. I am just saying that in the grander scheme of things, I don't worry as much about that. However, I do worry about that comma more than anybody else. So just putting that out there. Everybody else kind of acts like, well, whoop-de-doo. And I'm like, no, wait, I got to figure out, does a colon go here? What do I do? So yeah, it's ridiculous. So I wanted to address the students with that and to try to hopefully calm your nerves a little bit about that. I know that I talk about feeding Dragon. There are other people online that talk about Dragon, and I don't think a lot of students learn about Dragon all that much. I think, if I remember correctly, it was just the basics of setting up my profile when I was in school that I learned about Dragon. And then, of course, if you have Betty's book, which everybody should, then you will learn about how to feed Dragon in there as well. But I think what you need to do is take that out of your head. And I think what you need to do is to make sure that Dragon has those briefs or those words in it. And that's about the extent of what you need to worry about until after you get your CVR. So kind of put that out of your head for right now until you get your testing over. You've got enough going on, just try not to think about it. I also have had a couple of people come to me and ask me about dictionary stuff and making sure that you have things in there. And once again, this is all stuff that's going to happen after you test. So put that out of your mind. But then when your testing is over with, maybe look into getting someone that you can hire to help you with your dictionary, to help you with Dragon, and to help you learn the finer things about reading back. I know that a lot of you California court reporting students and people who are working in the court systems right now, they put a lot of pressure on you out there to read back. And it takes a lot of talent. It takes a lot of work to get to the point to where your read back is nice and clean. And I hate to say this, but 9 times out of 10, if your real time is not clean, it's not your fault. It's not always your fault. When these attorneys are speaking at 300, 350 words a minute, Dragon has no clue what to do with that. It has no clue. I mean, we are certified at 225 for a reason, okay? And once you get the speeds down, then that's when you start really working on your enunciation and your dictation practices, so that at 225, 180 to 225, your real time should look really, really good. But yeah, those are things that I ended up paying for. I paid a couple of different trainers to help me with things. And then it was me just watching my real time as I was taking it down, so that I could see what was happening. You can tell from your steno pane to the right, if you look at that and that's what you said, and then look at your Eclipse screen and it'll say what Eclipse thought it heard you saying. And it can get a little crazy, but then you know what to do to go in and fix it. Okay. So yeah, I think it is a big thing about readbacks, and I can't imagine being fresh out of school, freshly certified, and I go in for a job interview and they say right off the bat, hey, read this, I need you to read back. Your nerves have already got the best of you. Or putting you in a court, like a calendar court or an admin court that goes at 350 words a minute at breakneck speeds, and it's chaos and there's noise in the courtroom and everything else going on, and expect you to read that back. That is ridiculous. That is unforgiving. Everybody has a learning curve. We all do. I mean, give somebody a break. And if you are so worried about your reporters, wanting them to read back and wanting them to do all the things, then hire the people that you need to hire to help train them, or put them in an easier court. There's so many different variables to getting good real time, so many different ones, and they all kind of have to come together in this perfect storm, to make everything right. So please take that pressure off of yourself, okay? Let's focus on one thing, and that one thing, for those of you who are either going to take your test for the first time or take your test for the 5th time, it doesn't matter. Put everything else out of your head. Do that practice. Give yourself an hour a day to practice, to go through and look at what you dictated, scope it and proof it, and learn from it. And then let Dragon learn from it. Analyze that document and show Dragon and Eclipse how it is that you do what you do. I mean, you can't learn something if you don't know what it is, and I think that's basically the problem with Dragon, is it doesn't know you yet. And so you've got to let it get to know you. You're not going to start off just French kissing. You got to go in with the handshake first and introduce and work your way up to the French kiss. But that's crude. But anyway, I just think that that's one of the ways that you have to understand it's a slow process. People say, oh my God, it's so much easier to go to voice school and to graduate and to test and get your certificate. But it's not, because now, once we get that done, the next chapter, building those speeds, building that dictionary, building those skills so that you can be everything that you want to be, and therefore everybody else will be satisfied as well. So do that for yourselves, okay? I also wanted to just put it out there that on September, I think it's the 20th, I have to look at my calendar, but September the 20th, I think, I am going to have a new episode of the Court Reporters Cafe with two very special guests, and I'm teasing it right now, but I can guarantee you that you're not going to want to miss that episode. So that will give you something to look forward to. I took a couple of months off from recording just to kind of give myself a little bit of a break. And as I was thinking about doing this today, I had some confirmation on a couple of different guests to come on. So I will be doing that starting in September. We'll have a new season starting. We did so many wonderful ones last year that if you have any other suggestions or anything that you would like to hear on the podcast for this season, drop me an email at kmrayreporter@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Like everything that you see, subscribe to my podcast. Leave me a comment so you can let me know what it is that you want from me, and if you enjoyed it or if I need to change something. I can take criticism. Hit me with it. I can do it. And I'm excited to get back into this year and to help everybody that I can. I'm telling you, it just knocked me off my feet. Every time somebody leaves me a comment, every time somebody comments on my TikToks or Instagram or Facebook, and talking about Facebook, I've got to get Mentor and Mentee up and running again. I may do a couple of Zooms before Christmas, but I think everybody by December the 1st needs to take a little break. But as we get closer to December, I'm also trying to get a financial person on here to talk about what it is that you can do for your taxes and tax write-offs and everything else that is possible. So keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and I'll be letting everybody know, as usual, when something new is going to be happening, and to keep your eyes open for that. But thanks for listening to me. And if you have any questions about what I talked about as far as testing goes, drop me a line. I think September is California testing, maybe. But yeah, just drop me a line and I can see if I can give you a little bit more encouragement. But just know that you've got a lot of people that are rooting for you, and I'm one of them, and there's a ton of them out there. So keep up the great work, keep up the practice. You're going to go as far as you push yourself, okay? So anyways, thanks for listening to me. And if anybody wants to reach out, please do. And I will see everybody for a new episode of the Court Reporters Cafe coming up in September. So have a wonderful, wonderful night and a great upcoming weekend. Love to y'all.